Week 7 of the Premier League, September 29th. Let's go through the matches. The early kickoff. I think I'll start crying. Was at the London Stadium. West Ham entertaining Manchester United. Contrasting results in the Carabao Cup. Mourinho and co lost a penalty shootout to Championship side Derby, and West Ham thrashed Macclesfield 8-0. Okay, we all know about the Mourinho Pogba dust up at the training ground. So, captain no longer, away we went. Young was in for the injured Valencia, playing right back. Sanchez and Lingard not in the squad. McTominay, Fellaini and Matic were preferred in defensive midfield in front of Lindelof and Smalling. Martial was up front with Lukaku. West Ham, they had Arnautovic back after that hamstring ping. So off we went, and a lethargic start by the Red Devils, and Hammers were 1-up after 4 minutes after Zabaleta, looking very impressive, got to the right and crossed the ball in, and Anderson, far too swift for the United defence, flicked the ball in past De Gea. Impressive start for the Hammers. Martial had a poor effort on a goal after 11, and later Lukaku hit a post with a great header from a young cross. But West Ham continued to threaten themselves. Arnautovic, always a problem and always available, turning defenders. And that Anderson, he's certainly a box of tricks. Anyway, just before the break, a stroke of luck for West Ham. Avramenko created a yard of space, and his shot took a wicked deflection off Lindelof, and it spiralled into the net wide of De Gea. That was 2-0 at the break. Second half, Rashford came on 58 minutes. Pogba left a frustrated figure, and Hammers was still dangerous in attack. But on 70 minutes, Rashford connected with a cross with a deft touch that slipped inside the near post, and it was 2-1. Rashford had made a difference, but United was still looking brittle in defence, and within minutes the defence opened up a little bit like the Red Sea for Moses, and Arnautovic ran into space, collected the ball and slotted the ball past De Gea. So the 2-goal advantage was restored, and it petered out. Pellegrini buoyant at the final whistle. Mourinho's philosophical in defeat. He did point out that first card looked a bit offside, and on replay he was right. But to be frank, United got what they deserved, nothing. So to the match of the day, Chelsea at home to Liverpool. The top two provided an exciting contest. Chances at both ends early on. Salah missed a couple of chances that last season he would have slotted home. Has he lost his scoring touch maybe? Alisson swatted his fellow Brazilian Willian, but then on 25 minutes, a swift move put Hazard through on the left, and he slotted the ball into the corner wide of Alisson. Outstretched hand. So Chelsea 1-up. Got to the break, into the second half, and the quality continued. Mane had an effort pushed wide by Kepa, and Klopp then rang the changes. Shaqiri was on for Salah, and Sturridge came on as well to add a bit of bite to the attack. And it was Sturridge who grabbed the point when he obliged with an outrageous strike that looped into the top corner. That was on 89 minutes. A draw was a fair result and both managers seemed content. To match 3 then. Everton at home to Fulham. Flowing football in the first half, but no real cutting-edge chances until a late break left Sessegnon through on goal, but his effort shaved the bar. He should have done better. Okay, so we went into the second half and it was completely different. Everton took control. They had a penalty which Sigurdsson missed, but he didn't take long to get on the shore street and forget about that horror. And he proceeded to collect a brace, both delightfully taken, particularly the first, curving in off the left side corner. Tozen added a goal in between and it ended 3-0. Comfortable win for the Toffees. Jokanovic needs to toughen up Fulham quickly, or they could slide down into the relegation zone. Their defence is very shaky. To the Emirates then, and it was Arsenal at home to Watford. Arsenal's games have been following a similar pattern. Slow start, struggling to find any tempo in the first half, improvements in the second half and goals grabbing the points. Well, this game was very much like that, although they were a trifle better at the start, but Watford, in good form themselves, were always going to be a challenge, and so it proved. Deeney marshalling those lines, and they looked good on the eye. Anyway, we got into the second half goalless, and Success had a great chance to put them in front, but it went over. Okay, so midway through the second half, Emery rang the changes. Iwobi came on for Ramsey, and his impact was significant. His low drive from the right was met by Lacazette and Cathcart, and it went off the defender to put Arsenal in front. And as happened last week, within 2 minutes they'd added a second. Iwobi again on that right, nice cross, Ozil right on the mark, 2-0. Felt sorry for Watford at the end. They deserve better, and they certainly are a talented group, but they lost 2-0. Okay. Etihad, the champions, Manchester City, were at home to Brighton. A feeling of inevitability about this match, and that is exactly how it panned out. City were again a pleasure to watch. Brighton fought hard to stay in touch, but were beaten by 2 great team goals. On 29 minutes, Sane, back to his best, managed to wriggle through to the byline, and he crossed the ball perfectly for Sterling, who was free near the far post, and he stabbed it in for 1-0. Total domination of the possession by City, and the second goal, we had to wait until the 65th minute, but Aguero rounded off a great passage of City flair to make it 2-0. The champions are now looking in full tilt. Smith Stadium, Huddersfield at home to Spurs. A much improved performance by the Terriers. They look well organised, well drilled, and Wagner has certainly got them fighting for everything. However, they were still beaten 2-0 by an unspectacular effort by Spurs, who were without Dele Alli and Eriksson. It didn't matter that much. Kane scored a brace. The first was a delightful header on 25 minutes, and he added a second from the penalty spot on 34 when Rose was caught in the box. It looked a little soft to me. De Potro hit the bar, and Mbenza forced a save from Gazzaniga. That's Spurs' third choice keeper. Wagner still looking for his first points at home this season. So to Molineux, Wolves at home to Southampton. It's the first meeting in the top flight since 2004. Hughes selected Austin and Ings up front, but we hardly saw their talents as Wolves were in charge from the off, playing enterprising football, spraying passes to the flanks, creating chances, and it was amazing that it remained goalless until the 75th minute, when the pace of sub Traore enabled Cavaleiro to convert just after being introduced by Nuno Espirito Santo. And then a second was added by Castro Otto, nicknamed Johnny, 3 minutes from time, to reward a persistent Wolves. And they continue to go with flair. They're up to 8th now. Hughes was rather pragmatic in defeat, but Nuno absolutely buoyant. St James's Park, Newcastle in the doldrums, Leicester with the visitors. Mike Ashley, the chairman, watched this inept performance by the Magpies. Leicester won 2-0 courtesy from a scruffy challenge leading to a penalty converted by Vardy and a commanding header by England's Harry Maguire. Pure was content. Rafa put a brave face on it, but they are desperately in need of some firepower. So to the Sunday match, and it was at the Millennium Stadium in Cardiff, entertaining Burnley. Burnley got their first win last week. The first half was somewhat uneventful. Burnley were, however, in front quickly after the break. 5 minutes into the second half, and Gudmundsson headed in just inside the near post, with question marks about Etheridge in Cardiff's goal. They did respond well though, the Bluebirds, and Murphy levelled it on the hour. But a Vokes header on 70 gave Burnley the points. Warnock was gutted at the final whistle as his troops had fought bravely. The Monday night match at the Vitality Stadium, the visitors Crystal Palace, and a very early lead for House Cherries, scored by Brooks with a left strike from the edge of the penalty area. After that, it was pretty even, but Palace deserved their equaliser courtesy of Van Aanholt on 55. A draw looked inevitable, but then on 86, Sacco, for some reason, led with his forearm, made contact with Lerma in the box, and the referee awarded a penalty. Stanislas converted, and the Cherries had their win. So, that's it for this week. At the top, it's Man City on top on goal difference from Liverpool with 19 points. Chelsea are third with 17. The North London rivals Spurs and Arsenal on 15 are next. Man United, my side, are down in 10th on 10 points. The bottom three are as they were last week. Goal of the week, difficult that one, but I'm going to give it to, I'm not going to give it to anybody.